experiences that I'm going to share with you. And first, I would like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe and like, because it really does help a lot with the algorithm. And also, I would like to thank the 3 people who let me feature their stories on my channel. And without further ado, let's begin. The first story. I work in a large bunker complex from World War II and stayed for a night shift the other day. I'm an editor, so I had headphones on most of the time. Every now and then, though, I thought I heard some music from somewhere, but brushed it off as just me being tired. At around 1 a.m., I went for a smoke in an area that basically only me and my bosses can access. It's an old stairwell used to transport heavy cargo that doesn't fit in any elevator. As I approached the door, I once again heard music, but this time clear as day. As I opened the door, it got really, really loud, like as if someone was sitting with a violin at the bottom of the stairwell. I work on the 4th floor. No other floor has direct access to the stairwell, except the very bottom. Needless to say, I was weirded out, but thought, maybe some composer uses their free time and practices here. Yeah, I know it was just an assumption, but it was the only explanation I had in the moment. I went down to see who was playing and say hello, since the music was actually kind of beautiful. It reminded me a bit of the classical Bioshock music and was, as far as I can tell, played by one single person on one violin. However, after I stepped down like 4 or 5 steps, the music abruptly stopped. Not in the way that you stop a recording. I could actually hear clattering and Foley sounds from handling a string instrument. I went down all the way and looked for any open doors or some way for this person to have gotten in here. However, there was nothing and no one in sight that would suggest someone just played the music there. So, kinda disappointed, I went all the way back up. The bunker's floors are about double the normal height, so I had to walk up around 6 floors. But just as I stepped back into our hallway, the music started again. So I went down again. Surely enough, there was no one there. At that point, my confusion turned into being kinda creeped out. I double-checked if every door was locked, which they were, and if the elevator, which had been out of service for a while, worked again. Maybe that's how they got there, but no. It was still stuck below ground floor, as it had for almost a year. So I thought, okay, every door is locked, and the only way in here is to have a key through one of the doors on each floor, and there are 5 floors in total. So I went back up and waited, since I was sure to hear someone unlock a door and step into the stairwell. Nope. I reached the top, and at eerily that precise moment, I heard a weird violin sound first, like someone mildly plucking the strings. Then the music set in again, and it was loud, like really loud. So I went down again, only to find nothing. At that point, I was actually wondering if I was just too exhausted or just starting to hallucinate or something. That's how I explained the music to me for the rest of the night. It was only the next morning that my brain realized that I recorded the music the first time I heard it loudly, so there's no chance of this being just in my head. The second story. About 5 years ago, I was in the Air Cadets, a UK organization affiliated with the RAF. My squadron was and is based in the Sergeant's Mess at IWM Duxford, a former RAF station, now a vast air museum. On this particular occasion, it was a summer evening and dusk was setting in. I was in charge of a camouflage exercise that involved the cadets using camouflage to hide and me trying to spot them. I was walking past several World War II era buildings when I saw two figures in the distance walking towards me. As I got closer, I saw that the two figures were US Air Force officers. Not an uncommon sight. We're not far from the RAF Lakenheath, a USAF base. Maybe they were visiting. As I got closer, I realized they were wearing outdated uniforms and had flying equipment that was extremely old with them. Still not thinking much of it, I saluted them as I walked past, as is customary. They didn't acknowledge the salute nor say anything. I walked off, feeling a little uneasy. Later that night, as the exercise wrapped up, I remembered the incident and asked my commanding officer who the two officers were. I got a very odd look and they said, "Corporal, we haven't had any visitors tonight." Concerned somebody might have broken in, security made a site-wide search but couldn't find anything. They then quizzed me, and when I described the airmen I had seen, a grim look came over their faces. They proceeded to let me know this wasn't the first time they'd been seen. Back in 1944, a B-17 Flying Fortress visited the airfield and took some personnel on a joyride. The aircraft collided with a navigation mast at low altitude and smashed into an accommodation building, exploding on impact and killing all aboard, plus one man in the barracks block. The building was located right next to where I had been walking. Furthermore, the men I described, they were the pilot and the navigator. They've been seen a few times over the years, often by security making patrols at night. I've always felt like I'm being watched when passing that spot. The third story. During a school break, me and my mom and one of my older brothers went to go visit our uncle on his ranch in Nevada. I have trouble sleeping, so one night I decided to take a walk around the perimeter of the ranch just for some air. I had made it all the way to the other side of the ranch, to the far end of the pastures. From the last fence to a woodsy hill area is about 50 yards. I decided to stay and look up in the grassy area to look at the stars. What no one told this city girl was that with no trees and no lights, you can see so many stars. It was breathtaking to see the universe like that. I started whistling. I heard the branch crack, so I stopped, a little startled. Then something else started to whistle right at me. I froze and it seemed like every hair on my body stood straight up. I couldn't move and the whistling got louder and closer. It was the almost exact same nonsense melody I was whistling not 15 seconds ago. I know what you're thinking, but birds are a thing. No, I know the difference between a bird and whatever the hell that was, and this ain't even over yet, so buckle up. I, the stupid white girl in a horror movie, decided to say, hello. Something said, hello, right back to me in my own voice. And yes, I know what my voice sounds like. A slightly raspy, faint Bronx accent, usually lower pitched unless I'm excited or mad. Then it's usually so high pitched, my friends say I sound like Harley Quinn on Adderall. Another branch snapped, and that was my cue to book it back around the paddocks and back to the barn and the main house, which was about 2 acres. It was like a blur. I have knee issues from a car crash, but I didn't even feel an ache as I sprinted all the way back to the main house. I still don't know what it was. I didn't tell anyone else about it, despite my mom being extremely superstitious. I don't know how I do it, but I always put the scariest one at